This is Christian Mitchell, your state representative, coming to you with another video update. It's been a couple of weeks and I wanted to give you an update on some of the things that have been happening in Springfield. Now, this past week we had a chance to vote to increase taxes by 3% on incomes over $1 million, asking the wealthy in Illinois to pay a fair share and increasing education funding by $1 billion. I was proud to vote for this measure, even though it fell just a few votes short. We recently conducted a book drive, in no small part because kids in my district lack up-to-date books for their studies. Some of these kids could invent the next Google or find a cure for cancer or unlock the key to untold innovation. But how can they do that if they don't have the basic materials to compete? All we're asking for is funding for an education system that gives every child, regardless of their zip code, the same chance of being successful that those millionaires once had in their own schools. Speaking of millionaires, Governor Rauner refuses to move on the budget. Instead of asking his golf buddies and fellow billionaires to pay a bit more for the services we all rely on, Governor Rauner wants us to gut the rights of working people to organize or reduce the ability of workers to get fair compensation for injuries incurred on the job as a precondition for passing a budget that protects services relied upon by seniors, working families, and students. But make no mistake, if schools don't open on time or seniors lose access to key services, it will be because this governor has chosen to put the interests of a few above the needs of the many. Finally, I want to address an issue I've received a lot of calls and emails about, the so-called opt-out bill, House Bill 306, that allow parents to opt their children out of standardized testing, not just current exams, but all future exams. This is one of those moments where the easy thing is not the right thing to do, so I voted no. The bill is, I believe, an earnest attempt by the sponsor and advocates to address the real problem of too much standardized testing, but on several accounts it falls short and could cause more harm than good for a few reasons. First, by not complying with federal rules for testing, we could lose up to $1 billion in key federal funds next year. Second, responsible assessments allow us to get a real sense of how low-income kids of color, special needs kids, and English language learners are progressing academically year over year. Third, and most important, it fails to address the real problem of testing, that much of our test mania is not state mandated but imposed by the district. The real challenge of changing the way we test is to reduce the total number of tests. Capping, for example, the combined in-district and state testing burden at a certain number of hours so as not to take away key instructional time from our teachers. It means focusing on assessments, as few as possible, that provide teachers diagnostic feedback so they can focus on the strengths and weaknesses of individual students in the remaining year's curriculum. I am currently working on legislation to address just that issue, and I look forward to working with all interested parties on making it happen. We appreciate your comments, your questions, and your concerns. You can, as always, contact us at the information provided at the end of this video. Thank you for your support, and thank you so much for listening.